Hello, Ushcho here. I just wanted to talk for a moment about the action that eBay is apparently taking soon to do away with adult content and adult products, except not at all, because they're still stocking shit like Playboy, and they will still be A-okay with mainstream straight bullshit. It's especially noteworthy that this is happening in the tide of a huge amount of trying to celebrate and uplift Asian and Pacific Islander culture and society. But one of the big things that eBay is against is, of course, yaoi and BL, and doujinshi in general. This is total bullshit. And I will say now, if you do not understand why art, small press, comics in general are significant socioculturally, fuck off, move to something else. I don't have the time or the inclination to explain why these things are significant. But they are a huge, huge cultural artifact, and they are a massive part of the sociocultural landscape of any society and any culture. Making them less accessible is not acceptable, and that seems to be what is happening here. They are being made much less accessible, and it is much more difficult to get to them, as well as the fact that they are driving people out of business that instead we should be celebrating as a robust part of our society. But this is not only an anti-Asian policy shift, it's an anti-gay and queer one too. Our whole culture and our distinct society are not mainstream. We have our own standards, and we have different values and different things that we esteem and prize. Many very important gay, lesbian, and otherwise queer books, magazines, and so forth would be affected by this change in policy. A lot of the time, independent, self-publishing, small press, underground, that's us. And doing away with that is doing away with a massive amount of our society and culture, because apparently you just don't give a shit. So eBay are not only incredibly anti-Asian, they're homophobic and anti-queer. So I urge you to use them much less, if at all. There are so many other places out there that you could use that you will get better selection and better service. I do not think it is right at all, in any real way, to do this. I think it is a horrible, horrible decision that is going to drive a lot of people out of business because they were using their eBay shop to connect people with things that otherwise they would not have any access to. And that is a shame, because that is less people that will be able to appreciate even just pop culture, even just the things that people buy, even just fandom stuff. This is still a terrible thing because there are so many other options. But if these big companies keep doing this stuff where they are basically de facto censoring them by not being willing to sell them or facilitate any sort of trade with them, it is as good as if they had fired the gun, basically, killing that particular medium. A similar incident was when Tumblr decided to do away with their adult content. So much was lost that is utterly irreplaceable. We tried to save what we could, and maybe not a huge amount of people will benefit from these things, but there is still a benefit, and they are still incredibly socioculturally important and historically important. They are artifacts by the first moment they are made and shared. To say that these are not worth enjoying and not worth making it possible for others to enjoy is heinous beyond description to me. It is an atrocity. But whatever the flimsy justification offered for this, it is unjustifiable. It is inexcusable. There is nothing that can actually justify this action. eBay are anti-Asian and homophobic, and there's no telling what else they are. Our experience in the last half-decade has proven that we cannot trust people that do things like this. If they are allowed to do it without any answer from us, they will continue to do it, and they will get worse every time, because once they have that first victory, they will think that they can do that indefinitely and at unlimited scope. That is not acceptable. As a sort of a solution, I will introduce you to 3 sites that are very useful. The first is Mandarake, which has various locations all over Japan, stocks all kinds of various media, including doujinshi, toys, music, and so forth. You can shop with them directly as long as you can pay internationally, which you may have to contact your bank to ask about that. Most banks should be able and willing to do this. And the great thing is you're dealing directly with a vendor, so it doesn't take quite as much time for a middleman. You'll get the stuff directly, and that is a very nice thing. You could also use a shopping service. Selga, for example, is one such service. I've used them many times. They were very reliable when I used them, and you can use any of the Japanese shops where they will accommodate you. There are various other shopping services out there, but some have odd terms, so make sure that they will be willing to deal in adult stuff, because someone that isn't is, I just don't think, worth doing business with, here or abroad. Selga, however, are fine with that. They're usually very prompt, and their rates are very reasonable. However, you will have to pay a few extra fees by using a shopping service, so be aware of that. You can go to any number of sites from their website, which I will provide all of these URLs to you in the blurb, one of which, amusingly, is Yahoo Auctions, because Yahoo Auctions, for whatever reason, became super popular in Japan, and in fact is more popular than eBay ever was there. There are a bunch of other different sites too that you can shop with, though, so I would recommend using those too. The last site is dlsite.com. DLSite deals in digital comics and doujinshi and things like that. It's not got as hugely broad a selection of older stuff, but there are plenty of doujinshika and artist circles that use DLSite, so check it out. And it's more the modern way, I guess, to do doujinshi. There are plenty of other sites all around, and I would be very happy to hear what sites you use. I welcome your suggestions. Please just comment below if you have a shopping service or a website that you do business with, even a smaller business that perhaps formerly operated out of eBay who now cannot. These actions have consequences, and they usually have costs for people other than these huge corporations that think that they don't have to care about their users and their customers. That is not true. I will not tolerate that kind of action, and I will not tolerate that kind of attitude. More than ever now, we have to stand against not only censorship, but silencing voices, especially when it is the time for us to uplift those voices and celebrate them. I especially find it unbelievably execrable that they are doing a double whammy against Japanese creators and against gays at a time when people are wanting to come together and celebrate those exact things. So a big fuck you to eBay. I encourage you to use them less and to gradually get them out of your custom. Don't shop there. Don't use their services. Inevitably, whenever anything that was once popular goes out, we end up with much more worthy successors and competitors. eBay and PayPal have only become worse and worse over the years. I encourage you to look for any alternatives that you can and reduce the amount that you use all of the eBay-related services, all of the eBay-related sites, and all the eBay-related businesses. This sort of action should have an answer from us. As a society, in our various cultures and social groups that we are part of, we must not tolerate this, and we must answer it back quite harshly, because this demands a harsh answer. So be sure to tell them they can go fuck themselves for putting all these people either out of work or at great inconvenience. As I detailed in one of my creative videos, doing something to suit one site or one particular business's proprietary formatting that you can't use elsewhere is waste of time and a waste of work. And they just don't care. So, in response, we should not care about them. They've been around for 20 years? Fine, let them go. If they can't manage to tolerate diversity, they don't even have to celebrate it, but you know they're going to try to get you to believe that they do, and they're going to exploit it on their site. Fuck that. Their actions speak much louder than whatever banner or pandering ribbon or rainbow graphic that they put on their site. Their actions speak much louder than that. And their actions are of a very bigoted, very hateful group of people who do not care about sociocultural artifacts, preserving history, or celebrating culture. All they will do is squeeze a buck out of it and then bury it when it ceases to be something that they find acceptable. That is not tolerable, and that is not acceptable. But until next time, take care. You're welcome. Bye.